Hello, and thank you for joining this introduction to the European Financial Transparency Gateway developed by the European Commission. We hope you'll enjoy learning how our project aims to improve accessibility and transparency of financial information across the European Union. You may be aware of the Transparency Directive that aims to ensure transparency of information for investors through a regular flow of disclosure of periodic and ongoing regulated information from issuers and the dissemination of such information to the public. Today, we'll explain what challenges are still observed among market participants who attempt to access such regulated information. For instance, when they search for financial reports, notifications on major holdings, or voting rights or information disclosed pursuant to the Market Abuse Directive. And more importantly, we will demonstrate how advanced technologies can help remove these challenges. Firstly, meet Anne, who is a professional investor, and on behalf of her firm, she is looking for opportunities to invest in promising listed companies from the European Union. Anne would like to be able to promptly search across all capital market entities listed on stock exchanges in the EU. Next, meet Peter, who is working for a strategic consulting firm, and on behalf of his clients, he is looking for possible candidates for a merger or acquisition in order to achieve highest synergies between companies. Peter is keen to look beyond financial data and needs to save time on accessing and normalizing data in order to dive deeper into explanatory disclosures published by companies. Lastly, meet Maria, who is an auditor, and often in her work, for instance, while preparing documentation for transfer prices analysis, she needs to promptly find peer companies to the firm she is investigating. For Maria, the key challenges relate to a single source of financial information about as many companies as possible. Anne, Peter and Maria share the same challenge: absence of a single trusted source of data for analysts and investors that would allow them to obtain financial information quickly, conveniently and reliably. Even if they find the reports they are looking for, these are often published in different languages. And respective authorities in member states use various formats and file types while publishing regulated information obtained from companies listed on the markets. While some may offer digital formats such as proprietary XML files or Microsoft Excels, others offer PDFs or even scans of paper files. Naturally, such diversity creates a challenge for Anne, Peter and Maria. There is also diversity of systems, technologies and means of publishing financial information across the EU, which contributes to the burden faced by users of financial data. Users such as Anne, Maria or Peter are not able to access data in a timely, convenient manner, and as a consequence, that hinders their ability to make informed decisions about the EU capital market participants they were investigating. It is worth noting that a number of initiatives have been undertaken to remedy the comparability, transparency and connectivity of financial information across the EU by relevant regulators, including specifically the European Commission and the European Securities Markets Authority. In 2005, the European companies started using the Unified Accounting and Reporting Standards called the International Financial Reporting Standards, or IFRS. From 2017, the EU will require a number of capital market participants to start using the Legal Entity Identifier, or LEI, as a unique company identification mechanism. This mechanism will further, from 2020, be applied to all listed companies submitting regulated information under the European Single Electronic Format, or ESEF. From 2020, all EU-listed companies will be required to apply the Common European Single Electronic Format, which adopts the inline XBRL standard for digital representation of financial reports. While all these developments constitute steps towards greater comparability and tracking of regulated information, convenient accessibility for European and foreign investors to regulated information submitted by issuers across the EU remains an open issue. We are pleased to present the European Financial Transparency Gateway project, established by the European Commission, that attempts to fill this gap and evaluate the potential of the distributed ledger technology in order to create a distributed record of financial reports across the EU. You may be aware that as of now, in each EU country, there is so-called officially appointed mechanism, or OAM, an official registry responsible for collection and dissemination of regulated information from issuers to the market. While many of these registries are equipped with modern and accessible systems, they are not connected in any usable manner. Consider what would happen if we connected these national databases. What if they became a cloud-based, commonly accessible registry that synchronizes national regulatory information automatically? This is what we call the European Financial Transparency Gateway. Let's see how the EFTG should work. An issuer in each country reports regulated information to the respective OAM. The OAMs collect reports from issuers to make them available to the markets on equal terms. OAMs prepare records of information about the reports received. These records contain information about the issuer, its LEI, the type of regulated information, links to reports, and other useful metadata. When the record with metadata is published by the OAM to other nodes in the EFTG network, these nodes, in our case these are other OAMs, validate the new entry and approve it according to the rules of the distributed ledger technology. This way they create an immutable record of data. Now let's see how our users would access the EFTG records. Anne may be using a third-party software directly connecting to the EFTG in order to search for European companies meeting certain investment criteria. The software would connect to the public ledger, obtain reports and search for specific data points to verify investment criteria. The EFTG platform directly connected to the ledger will offer basic and advanced search and compare functionality across regulated information from European issuers. External data vendors will connect to the ledger to obtain latest financial reports and provide advanced and value-added information products and services. Let's verify why the European Commission has decided to use the distributed ledger technology to establish the EFTG. Blockchain is a data technology that enables the creation of a digital ledger of transactions and share it within a distributed network of computers. It utilizes advanced cryptography to enable each participant on the network to use the ledger in a secure way without a central authority. Because every node has their own copy of the complete ledger, even if some of them are compromised or offline, the system is still fully operational. Thanks to the consensus protocol, the majority of the nodes, in our case OAMs, have to approve information submitted by one of the nodes. When an outside party tries to submit a fraudulent information, it will be rejected. The EFTG may be applied to solve other challenges where distributed records of information could improve efficiency or transparency of markets. It can be used to connect distributed European business registers that collect data from all companies, including small and medium entities, and make this data easily available. This could improve access to capital for SMEs, as well as international trust, cooperation and trade levels. The EFTG can form a simplified, cost-efficient, unique identification mechanism for small and medium enterprises across the EU. The records stored on the EFTG can include other datasets, such as information on prospectuses issued by companies. The records stored on the EFTG can also contain executable codes, or scripts invoking further actions once defined triggers become activated. For instance, certain events can trigger payments obligations or notifications. Use of the distributed ledger technology brings about a number of benefits. Data submitted to the EFTG is promptly available at the same time to all participants. EFTG as a neutral online technological mechanism creates a non-discriminatory access to the regulated information. The ledger can become a single access point for capital market participants to obtain relevant information for the decision-making processes. The transparency of both the software code operating the ledger and the ledger itself allow to increase public trust in the European capital markets. Immutability of the ledger creates confidence and provides for legal value of data. In effect, the FTG constitutes a transparent and secured system supporting the growth and operation of capital markets.